So in my last video, I did Could Telltale Batman Survive Arkham Asylum, and I got a lot of requests to do the opposite, so that's exactly what I plan to do with this video, where I'll be taking Arkham Batman and placing him into the Telltale universe to face off against every single villain in both games. And now, he'll only have his equipment of tools from each game, but I will not be using Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League Batman, so he won't be getting access to the Fear Toxin. But everything else he's had over his course of games is fair game to him, and he'll only be having Arkham Alfred to help him as needed, which won't be much and only in the capacity that Telltale Alfred helped his Batman. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and dive into this video. But before we get started, if you are new to this channel, feel free to subscribe to the channel, comment down below, and just help this video reach the algorithm to get pushed even further out. And thank you guys for all the support that you did in the last video. It blew my mind. I never expected that video to get that kind of traction. So let's go ahead and cover Catwoman. Now, starting off with her, she would be the first opponent for Arkham Batman, and this one is an easy victory for this Batman, who hits a lot harder than the Telltale version does and is a way better martial artist, with having faced down skilled fighters as Deathstroke and Lady Shiva, defeating them both in Origins, and with him knocking out Killer Croc, who in Origins is over 800 pounds. Even though the tank's exploding on him and did a good amount of damage to him, it was still Batman's fist that actually knocked him out. And if we go to Asylum Batman, who is casually knocking out Titan henchmen constantly, or City, where Batman defeats Solomon Grundy, all it would really take is one well-timed strike, and Catwoman would be down and knocked out. And that's before looking at Arkham Knight Batman, who can just speed blitz her with a fear takedown. The Telltale Catwoman just doesn't have the technique or striking power to do any real harm to Arkham Batman, and the only way that she could possibly escape is with her speed. And honestly, in my opinion, the only one she could even potentially outrun would be Origins Batman, but even that would be a stretch, so more often than not, Selina Kyle ends up in Blackgate here, and so far Arkham Batman is on easy mode, but will that change with his next encounter, that being Carmine Falcone? Now, with him, we have to do things slightly different, as this would be the first Predator challenge that Arkham Batman would face, and I do believe that the guards are no issue for Batman here, as Arkham Batman has taken down thugs like this silently before, but he also has a sonic batarang to help him lure the thugs to where he wants them. And if we go with Arkham Knight, then he should be able to use his fear takedown to eliminate the others relatively easily and quickly, and City Batman has freeze grenades to help him accomplish a similar feat. But the biggest threat has yet to come, as even Origins Batman would clear out these thugs relatively easily, and now comes the turret, which is honestly the biggest issue for Arkham Batman here, as he doesn't have that same drone that blew a hole in Falcone's tower and took out the drone for him. However, what he does have instead is a disruptor that he can use to take out the turret, but he'd have to take a few hits from it to get a shot off. And I do believe that Arkham Batman would survive a few shots, as in the tie-in comics of Arkham Knight, he was able to take multiple gun firings from multiple people using what looked to be automatic rifles, and he came out of that not even worse for wear. So I do believe he could take at least a few shots, even with his ballistic armor, just to go ahead and take out that turret. And now that would lead him to Falcone, which he would easily take down and interrogate him to get all the information he needs, leaving him for the GCPD. But now I want to go over if the turret didn't actually happen. Like, could it actually have happened? And could Falcone have actually gotten it activated? And honestly, if we're only using Origins, it's a 50-50 shot. But any other version of Batman, I honestly don't think so. And I doubt that Carmine even has a chance to do anything if it's Asylum City or Night Batman, as he just progresses and is a way better crime fighter and more experienced and tested by fire at those points in his life, and would shut Falcone down hard, and I don't think that changes with our next opponent either, with that being Blockbuster. Now, this is an interesting take, as he really isn't showcased all that much, nor does he have a lot of screen time in the Telltale games. And because of that, I think Arkham Batman would defeat Blockbuster without any real damage. But not only that, he could potentially also take down Penguin here as well. And in fact, I do think he takes down Blockbuster and Penguin, both of them, at once, because I just don't see any way that this Blockbuster can compare to a Titan henchman or even a thug on Venom from Origins. It's just not something I see from what is shown, and I don't see Penguin getting away either, as we've seen Arkham Batman take out dozens of enemies in City while having to contend with a Titan henchman at the same time, and she's been able to do both. And this version of Penguin, sure, he's a bit more of a threat when it comes to hand-to-hand combat, as he's had military training, but compared to Deathstroke, he's no challenge at all to Batman, and Arkham Batman could get all the information out of him, leading him to Lady Arkham, and both Penguin and Blockbuster get left for Gordon and the GCPD, with all of the Penguin's true records and crime list, putting Penguin out of the picture, meaning Bruce won't lose his company to Oswald Cobblepot, putting a major dent in Lady Arkham's plans, if not completely unraveling it. Speaking of which, up next is Lady Arkham. So when it comes to Vicky, it's kind of interesting because in this string of events that we're covering, we could go two ways. Either she knows that Batman is coming and has time to prepare for him, or is caught completely off guard and is brutally put down. And let's keep this all fair as we can. Let's say that she knows that Arkham Batman is coming and decides to prepare for him by giving herself the steroids and painkillers that allow her to take hits from Telltale Batman without feeling the pain, and even be able to actually put her strength level to somewhere near him. And on top of that, I'm also going to allow her to set a trap for Batman. And so I picture it going something like this. Arkham Batman enters the area and turns on his detective vision, seeing a hostage in the station as well as chemical mixtures that he would analyze and upload the compound to the back computer, having Arkham Alfred break down the makeup and have the computer create a potential antidote in case he fails to stop Lady Arkham here. And once he gets to the hostage, he realizes that it's Harvey Dent. And that's when Lady Arkham springs her trap, having all her men attack Batman, and this would be child's play for this Batman. And even the ones with guns wouldn't do any real damage, since he can move fast enough to avoid gunfire while in combat, and depending if it's Origins or City and Night, he either has a glue grenade or ice grenades to help him, along with smoke bombs, disruptors that can take out enemies' guns. He just has a lot of things that can help him completely dominate the fight. And when Lady Arkham comes at him, his Batclaw would catch her by surprise, yanking away her staff and allowing him to break it. And even with her hopped up on drugs and painkillers, there's no real way for her to beat any version of Arkham Batman, as he's just been through way tougher fights, such as Poison Ivy, Bane, Scarecrow, Arkham Knight, Deathstroke, Lady Shiva, Mr. Freeze, and Ra's al Ghul, just to name a few notable ones. And in a last-ditch effort, I could see Lady Arkham trying to infect Harvey Dent with the drug before Batman knocks her out and exposes her identity, stopping the children of Arkham. Now, I can see a scenario where Harvey isn't infected with the drug, but for the sake of this video and having a look at how Arkham Batman handles Telltale Two-Face, let's go ahead and say that she does indeed end up infecting Harvey Dent. And yeah, I know, having Two-Face versus Arkham Batman is just complete bullying him at this point, so I'll make this one quick. With Arkham Batman, he would do everything he could to help Harvey, but the damage would be done, with it drawing out his other personality that was just already there right below the surface. That's far less charming, and when Harvey gets too carried away, Arkham Batman would easily be able to put him down without any effort, but it would be with a heavy heart. And that just wraps up the events of the first game. So let's go ahead and jump over to the second game, where we start off with Riddler. Now, unlike in the Arkham games, this Riddler is way more deadly, as he's also the leader of the Pact, and taught Catwoman her tricks, but it's still not enough to beat Arkham Batman in any iteration, as when it comes to the Death Trap, he could use the Disruptor to make it stop, or do what Telltale Batman did, and these goons that Riddler has would be no real match, as Batman would just quickly take them out. And as for the ones with the guns, he could either take them out first by using stealth, or use the Disruptor on their guns, making them have an opening for him to exploit and knocking them out. And when it comes to Riddler, he would be more challenging than anyone else so far, but not by much, as he'd be apprehended and turned over to Gordon, and once Amanda Waller got her hands on him, there really wouldn't be a reason for Waller and the agency to suspect a larger threat until Bane's attack. And speaking of Bane, let's go ahead and cover him right now. Now, once Arkham Batman encounters Bane, he would see several armed guards and would quietly take them all out, as now he's only left with Bane. And this initial fight is moderately difficult for Origins Batman, but anything from like Asylum forward is relatively light work of Bane, as the other versions of Bane are just way tougher than this initial non-venomed up Bane at this point. And when he does use the venom, not a lot of things change, as even Origins Batman has a counter for that with the shock gauntlets, and he's also had his fair share of punishment from the Arkham Origins Bane, who punched Origins Batman through a wall, but he managed to actually get up and keep going. And like I said, once the shock gauntlets are used, it's over for Bane. Alternatively, Arkham Batman can't outlast the venom effect that Bane has, or he could also just stun Bane and do a beatdown with several fast and powerful strikes to take Bane down. Honestly, this would probably be the hardest fight here, as Bane is probably the deadliest in the Telltale universe. But now we'd move on to Mr. Freeze. Now, Batman would have to use Gordon to let him interrogate one of Bane's men to find out what they know, and then he'd learn about the Pact and their location. So he would move on out to the Pact's hideout, where he would scan the area, realizing that there's only one person and a bunch of thugs there, and that would be Mr. Freeze. And this version of Victor is deadly, but he's very doable. He's nothing when you compare him to his Arkham counterpart from Origins or City. This fight, while kind of annoying, would be winnable, and I do believe that Freeze would be defeated in either a fear takedown, stealth takedown, or just from the electro gauntlets. But now Batman could search around and find out the Pact's goals, and this would lead him to finding the secret lab and gaining access to it. Since he wouldn't have the Pact with him, he can fully destroy the entire lab, all the research, and the serums as well. And that would only leave two things left unwrapped. That would be Harley and Joker. So this Joker is already completely different, since he would never have met Bruce or had any interaction from Batman. So this would be a Joker completely obsessed with Harley and twisted by her as well. So now Harley and Joker would be a team Batman would have to stop. And in my previous video, I mentioned that Telltale Harley was more of a threat than Arkham Harley, and I still believe that that is true, but Telltale Joker is nothing compared to his Arkham counterpart, so this fight would really only be between Batman and Harley once he located her and Joker, which wouldn't be hard, since he got their information, and all he has to really do is search for facial recognition in the city's cameras. So once he got it hit, as well as having Gordon just put out an APB on them, he would find them relatively easily. And then I could see them having multiple goons set up in a trap to catch Batman, but I don't think it works out as well as it does in Arkham for them, because for one, Arkham's detective vision can show where everyone is at, and without this Joker having any interactions with Batman whatsoever, he doesn't have that same cunningness to him that Arkham Joker has. He doesn't have that same twisted logic and ingenious strategy that comes from knowing Batman inside and out. This Joker just doesn't have that. So he's not able to come up with a viable plan. And even though this Harley is more methodical, she's deadlier, I don't think she knows this Batman well enough either to actually come up with a plan that could effectively trap him. And so when the goons do come out, Batman just immediately wrecks shop, knocking them all out, as no goon or henchman in the Telltale universe is even remotely capable of taking out Batman. And now once it comes down to Harley and Joker versus Arkham Batman, Joker's the first one knocked out, because he just doesn't have that same purpose. He doesn't have that same drive that Arkham Joker has. In this Batman, he hits way heavier, as he's just battled way more highly skilled and competent fighters, along with having faced deadlier versions of Joker, Bane, Mr. Freeze, and other villains like Killer Croc, Deathstroke, Poison Ivy, and Ra's al Ghul. And those characters are just really far above anything that the Telltale universe has. And even for Harley, like, she doesn't have her electric hammer yet, so there's not even that surprise element that could catch Batman off guard, because she only got that after she got teamed up with Waller and put on her Suicide Squad mission, you know? So unfortunately, even though this Harley is more competent and more deadly than the Arkham version, at least in Asylum and for the most part of City, there's not really much that she can do. Arkham Batman, any version of Arkham Batman, would just take her down in about 3 hits or so. And Joker would probably only take one well-timed punch or just one beatdown. And that's pretty much a wrap. Arkham Batman completely stomps through Telltale's universe. They don't have anything that can compete with whatever Arkham Batman has gone through. And maybe if Telltale had a season 3 for Batman, there could have been something else that could have really leveled these characters, but until then, Arkham Batman just completely dominates here, with Origins Batman probably being the only one to really struggle at all. And that's only because his speed, and that's not really even his fault, as he just didn't have that many great opportunities to show us how fast he really is. But in everything else, from Asylum, especially City and Night, it really showcased how fast Arkham Batman is. And even with that new suit, having the fear takedowns, where all he has to do to really charge that up is just do a few silent takedowns, and he can target anywhere between 3 to 4 enemies at a time. And I honestly think, like, with that speed blitz, because when he's in that state and in that zone, even if you take it out of a context of gameplay, he's moving fast enough to where bullets to him look like they're moving in slow motion. So that's just vastly faster than anything Telltale's has. So even from the gameplay itself, Arkham Batman just completely outclasses everything that Telltale's is. But maybe Telltale can get some sort of redemption in the next 2 videos that I'm doing. The next one will be if Batman Beyond could survive Arkham Asylum, and after that one I'll be doing, could New 52 Batman Beyond survive the Telltale universe. Until then, I've been Comic Fiend, and just remember, this is not supposed to be a power scaling video. This is just a theory video that I do, and it's just supposed to be a fun discussion. You don't have to agree with me, but I do want to know your thoughts down in the comment section below. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. God bless, and peace.